the racial casting that they do in the Disney live action remakes, but also obviously How to Train Your Dragon kind of fits in the theme as well because they're being inspired by the Disney live action remakes, are some of the most cynical examples I've ever seen of like some of the most like insincere, ineffectual displays of progressive intent that you could possibly invoke, you know? Look, representation matters, I get that. The thing that most reminds me of it, or the thing that most comes to my mind, is the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, where if you saw, I haven't seen it myself, I have seen the Lindsay Ellis video on it, great video, the Lindsay Ellis video on the remake, I mean, and the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, horrendous, and also pretty regressive, like sexist, but to like modernize it, to like update it, you know, because it's sexist in ways that they're not smart enough to understand, you know. They also have Belle, the lady, be like a big feminist, and there's 1 second of a gay character, you know what I mean? So in terms of the messaging of the story, it is far more reactionary. Like the movie itself is reactionary compared to the original, but it's like being dressed up with progressivism because you make, you know, if they had made Belle black, I mean, good Lord, can you imagine how progressive that might have been? Look, if you want to do a remake, first of all, fuck you. If you're doing a live action remake of an animated movie, to begin with, fuck you, I hate you. But leaving that aside, if you want to zhuzh it up and make it more like progressive, make the story more progressive. Senseless race swapping doesn't really do anything there. And I know what you're going to say, right? Like, who cares if Ariel from The Little Mermaid is white or black? Certainly not fucking me. You know who does? They do. The studio execs, which is why they did it. It's not like they just rolled the dice. It's not like they, you know, woke up and they were like, I have no preconceived biases at all. Oh, I guess we're going with a black actress, you know? Of course they're doing it because they're trying to appeal to the narrative of inclusion and so on and so forth. And hey, inclusion, diversity, that's great. I love that. I'm a woke boy, you know? But you have to be like substantive in how you do this sort of thing. And yeah, I do think it's a little bit silly that Snow White is a brown girl in a live action remake. And I, you know, for reasons that I hope are incredibly self-evident to anyone watching and understanding what I'm saying in good faith, it is self-evidently funny. And if you're doing a story about literal Vikings, like, yeah, they're probably all gonna be white. Like, were there black Vikings? Probably, yeah. The Vikings were like a big colonizing, seafaring group. The Vikings traded all up and down and around the Mediterranean. But if the story is about a Viking community that like lives and is insular and kind of like is in their own, you know, they're just like living it up in their little Viking village or whatever, they're probably all going to be white. I guess it would just be kind of cool if you were going to have a black Viking in a kid's story. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if it was like you were more seafaring and trading like around the Mediterranean, and there was a black character from a different culture, and part of the narrative and message of the story incorporated that, rather than it just being like, oh, there's just like 21st century multiracial multiculturalism incorporated into our 1,000 years ago village. You know what I mean? You get what I mean, right? That's all I'm calling for, is for people to try harder when it comes to being progressive in this, you know? Yeah, like they pick up a Moorish dude or something. I like that. It's just weird, you know, in a time where people were so tribal, like 1,000 years ago, yeah, they were more tribal then than they are now. The people had to cross some pretty remarkable barriers to have communities that were multiracial, right? Like people trading up and down the Mediterranean, or like what is in modern day Turkey. You have this like strip of land on the east the eastern coast of the Mediterranean where there's like an insane level of racial diversity, you know? In like for thousands of years, you have like in one area, you have like olive-skinned people who live there in the Levant, and you have like Arab, and you have very dark-skinned people who come up from Africa, and you have very pale-skinned people who come down from the, you know, from the northern reaches of Scandinavia, and like they're but that's like an interesting thing to get into, I guess, and it doesn't really get spoken to if it's just like, oh yeah, well in the original animated everyone was white, but now there's a brown chick. I'm just asking for more. You know what I mean? Well, I'm asking for more like high quality engagement with you know, diversity. I'm asking for less live action remakes, please. That being said, are you guys ready for the fucking blowback when they come out with live action Frozen and like somehow Elsa and Anna are two different skin tones? They're all pale as snow in the animated, and it's gonna be like a one white girl and one like olive skin girl. Yeah, one Chinese, one Native American. Bring it in. Absolutely. I fucking hate Frozen. So to me, that would just be like